Okay, welcome to the very first episode of Sufficiently Black. This is a podcast that explores what it means to be comfortable in your blackness. And I am one of your co-hosts, Kia Swinton, and I'm here with... You're on mute.
Amari Pollard. Sorry, guys, I don't know. I'm just gonna...
It's episode 1, and we're off to a great start.
Wonderful day.
And Janae Price.
Wow, okay. This is what you're gonna get with Sufficiently Black, guys. Okay. Yeah. Hey guys, we used to be, so-called Oreos, and now we're back. You can tell that we're professionals. We're Sufficiently Black. And yeah, we just did this rebrand because, well, partially legal reasons and partially because the brand has evolved. So now you're rocking with us with Sufficiently Black. And that means we changed our socials. You can find us at SufficientlyBLK on Instagram and Twitter. And you can hang out with us in Discord, which you can find in our episode notes. And yeah, is there anything else you guys want to say about the rebrand, the new season?
I do want to say, full disclaimer for all of you guys listening. This is our second time recording this episode. Sir, we're trying to, pull out the energy and all the stuff, but we just started using a really good new platform that will hopefully give us clear audio and clear video for our YouTube channel. So that's something with the rebrand, but new things, new times, learning curve. So,
but you know what? I was thinking, and I thought it was pretty awesome how this is like episode, say, like without our like playbacks, episode like 55. Mm-hmm. And I think it's pretty awesome that we only had to re-record once. That's pretty significant.
Yeah, and all the times. Because I've been doing voiceover work for my job. And I have not done 55 recordings. I've done a lot of recordings, but I have not done 55. And I've had to record things a few times because of tech issues. So that is a really good track record, I will say.
Yeah, I'm saying it sucks, but it's not it's bound to happen once out of like 50 times. And I hear like the bitch Bible, and she always talks about how she never pushed record, and she has been doing it for 7 years, so...
Jesus Christ. That's terrible.
I know, right? But that's her only job, so she can afford to do that. She literally does nothing else.
Should we move on to our updates?
Yes. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. Okay. So I think you guys were here when I moved into a new apartment, but I'm going to say it again. I moved into a new apartment, and it's in a different state. Not really. I mean, I'm in New Jersey.
That's a different state.
Jersey City is New York City, though.
Nah.
It's the tri-state area. Once they lump it all together, it's still in the same realm.
It's still in the same realm. I also got a promotion. So I'm a writer now, a news writer. And I also have been doing voiceover work, but I'm doing more voiceover work for my job, doing that whole one job, but 2 jobs, maybe even 3 jobs thing.
Can you give us a little preview? I want to hear. I mean, I've heard it, but I want to hear a little preview.
I feel like they've heard it too, because I feel like consistently out of all of us, Janae makes the most variations with her voice throughout all of our recordings.
You know what's hilarious is that I didn't realize that I did that shit until becoming an adult and not being out and about. I remember some guy I was seeing for a small amount of time was like, you do that a lot. And he was like mimicking my voice. And I was like, wow, I didn't realize that I do that I make voices and do stuff like that. And I was like, damn, I might be one of those like girls that seems kind of crazy. And someone has like an anecdote about me making
you got multiple
like
personalities that come out through your voice.
I'm like, do I seem like that? Because I didn't realize that I'd be doing that shit.
You do a lot of like when you like imitate, is it called imitate? Yeah. Like, imitate white people. I do that too. When you like that, your imitate white people voice, or imitate dude voice, like a fuckboy voice.
Oh my god,
those are like
so
the top
easy,
2.
Though. So what else? Oh, I got a personal trainer. I be in the gym. Oh, that was a voice, wasn't it? So I got a personal trainer. That's been cool. have way less energy than I did before because I'm working out now regularly too, which I think I have to figure that out. Like, I think I have to start taking protein powder or something because I just be sleepy now. I think I've done like a lot of emotional work on myself, still in therapy. I feel like 27 has just been like a huge year of growth for me. And it's because of all the growth that I've done emotionally, it's made me like excited to get older, which is weird. It's just been a lot of reflection and growth. So yeah, other than that, I'm still very single, still trying to fight the good fight. So yeah, that's me.
I saw a quote online and I thought it was very powerful, which you guys probably heard this, but it was like, in stillness we grow. And I just thought that was so important because the article was about how, you know, I don't have a new job, I didn't get married, I don't have kids, but like I still want to celebrate things. And like there's a celebration of being like still, because in stillness, that's how you actually grow, when you don't have all these things going on. And the other quote that I like is like, life is what happens when you're too busy worrying about what life is, kind of like when you're like not focused on like,
I thought it was life is what happens when you're too busy making other plans.
Oh, the one I have on my phone is life is what happens when you're not worrying about anything else, but basically the same thing. Like when you're not trying to like constantly get to the next level, X, Y, and Z, it's like the surprising things in life happen, and that's actually what life is about. So I just thought that was really important. But I will say, in this update, last time we saw you guys was Juneteenth, and it's 3 months later, and a lot can happen in 3 months, as you will hear with all of us. So I think that's really awesome. Also, my parents are so loud I can hear them through these goddamn headphones, but can you hear them?
I can hear them too.
They just won't shut up. I'm not gonna edit that out.
Is that their regular talking?
Yes.
Yeah, my family's like that too. We don't
Old
talk
black
like we're
people
deaf.
are loud. Well, you know what? My sister also tells me that I'm loud too. So I guess black people are just loud in general.
It's just like, can you shut up? Like, you see the recording sign. Anyway, Amari, you go.
Okay. Well, I too started a new job. Exploring the advertising realm. I'm learning a lot. It's been cool so far. I started and finished a new lacrosse show with Tari, who does ESPN Sound On with me, and that one was draft off for Athletes Unlimited, and that was a really cool experience because that was like our first experience kind of producing and writing on our own, and I was doing all the editing. Very stressful, but it was a nice experiment in like media and finally putting together all of my undergrad skills and all these things in one setting. I made it official with a man that I've been dealing with for a few years. If you guys heard me complaining about anyone on the podcast as so-called Oreos, it was probably him, because we were that situationship for a long time. Hi, baby. I hope you're listening. And then, yeah, I mean, also, like, outside of all the good things, like, this summer has been hard, too. I've gone through a lot of family issues this summer, health-wise, just struggling to deal with the never-ending pandemic, and Delta variant, and Delta Chi, and Delta Gamma, and Delta whatever. But in between all of those stressors, I have still managed to find a lot of happiness, and things are happening for me, so I am very grateful, even though I feel like my voice is very monotone right now, so you're probably like, bitch, don't sound grateful, but I am.
Well, thank you for that update, Amari. Yes, let's go to Kia's notes. So, I had a transformation in the summer, I will say. Summer's my favorite season, and I love it, and I think great things happen in summer. For one, I got to travel, and I feel a little more comfortable, even though Delta's rising, but I did get to go to Miami, and I got to go to Rhode Island and Nashville, and I had really great experiences in all three of those states, or cities. I'm very excited about that. And I just had a really great summer with my friends, which I'm really happy about. I'm still kind of adjusting to. I feel like when I think about my life, what my everyday life is, it really does incorporate a lot of like commuting to New York City and doing stuff in the city after work. So it's actually still an adjustment for me, even though it's been like a year and a half, because that was so much. That was like 50-60% of my life. So I am still adjusting to that. But I did get a new job. Last time you guys, saw me, I was unemployed. But, God is good. And I was at my breaking point. And I got a LinkedIn message, and it changed my life. No joke. And now I work in podcasting full time, thanks to So-Called Oreos, which I still can't believe is real. But I am now officially a supervising podcast producer, which is like wild. And I work at iHeartMedia, which is really cool, and I love it so far. And yeah, I'm in a much better space, I feel like, mentally and emotionally. I think there's still some things lingering, but I'm trying to make some cutoffs so that doesn't linger, trying to cut off some people, and it's been really hard. I didn't realize that I had really bad boundaries with men until the summer. I think maybe you guys said it. Amari said it.
I was like, it was unexpected.
I didn't realize it.
Yeah, it was unexpected because I feel like Kia's the first one to be like, no, that's not okay, X, Y, and Z. And then she'd come back with these men, and she'd be like so forgiving and just like give them a lot of grace. And I was not prepared for that.
I don't think I was prepared for either. I think until you said so, when someone says something and then you're like, okay, I gotta adjust that. Like, basically, I would say I'm really good with boundaries for anyone that's not romantic. So I'm really good with boundaries at work. I'm really good with boundaries with my family. I'm really good with boundaries with friends. And I'll be quick to cut any of those situations off. But I think there's something about that emotional trigger where it's like, this is a new level.
I was so confused. I'm like, Kia had been helping me set my boundaries over this past year.
It.
And then this girl, I'm like, wait, what? Kia, were you just telling me to cut him off?
In Kia's defense, though, women are really, really trained from a young age to make a whole lot of exceptions for romantic connections, specifically men. We are trained to do it our entire lives. We watch our moms do it, and then we start dating, and we do it.
It is helpful. I have realized, like, okay, there's things you need to cut off. I have a cutoff list. People are getting cut off. And I'm making baby steps because there's things that I've said to people where I'm like, I wouldn't have said this 3 months ago, but I've said it to you, and it takes a really big thing. I think it really sucks, too. And I feel like the hardest part about growing up is knowing that, like, the way you feel about someone isn't the way they feel about you, or like just because you would never do this to someone, that doesn't mean they would never do that to you. And that's probably one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do growing up, and it's still something now where I'm like, I would never treat you like this, but you would treat me like this like multiple times. And it's a really weird dichotomy, I guess, that I'm still trying to navigate. But I am working on the boundaries. And yeah, that's Kia's update. So our discussion is kind of similar to the first episode of So-Called Oreos, but we're kind of bringing it back to what makes you black, what makes you sufficiently black, and that's what the name is. So this is a good starting point for the podcast. So, Amari or Janae, what does it mean to be black? Blackity black.
Well, first, I'm black, So I tick that box
because I
off.
said it.
Right, like, not only, I'm actually black. No, what's her name? Rachel Dolezanoff's here. Yeah, and to me, honestly, like, that's half of being enough. The other half is just, like, I'm genuinely proud of and happy to be black. And so, to me, that's enough. I love myself. I genuinely love my people and just want to be around them as much as possible, and just like have our collective success. I want to see us as a community succeed and just get access to more spaces, access to generational wealth, like everything. So to me, that's enough. I don't know. I feel like that's a long-winded way of saying that's how I feel black enough.
Good answer.
Someone at the DMV asked me a question. I answered, and she said, "Bitch, I didn't ask for your life story. Like, you were talking too much."
They different at the DMV. They another breed there.
I'll talk about what makes me black. Da-da-da. It's an interesting thing, because I think a lot of what makes someone black is, first off, obviously their melanin. And then after that is a kind of, and this is going to sound bad, but like a shared trauma. I think all Black people in this country know what it is to be Black, and it's not always something that can necessarily be put into words. So I guess I would say it's a shared trauma, a shared sense of community, a shared sense of love and respect for one another.
I think that's a good point, because I think there's so many parts of being Black where it's like, which I think our goal with this podcast is to kind of hit all those parts, because I think there's parts of being Black and being gay and Black, which is different than a straight person being Black, or there's a different part where like mixed people, which I think have a really hard, well, I can't speak for them, but it seems like there's always a conversation or debate about mixed people about like how Black they are and like how do they identify, and if their mom's Black versus their dad being Black. And I think there's a lot of conversation there that I hopefully we can discuss on this podcast with people who are mixed. There's, you know, different skin tones for being Black. There's different backgrounds. Like it's something that I feel like people try to put us in a box of being Black, but there's so much to Black people, and we never get the opportunity to explore that or talk about that, which I think we really want to discuss on this podcast. But for me, like, being Black is one, of course, you're melanin. You can't just say I'm Black and be transracial. That's not a thing. But you actually have to be of Black descent, and at least, I don't know, because it's weird, because it's like, if you're only 25% Black, do you identify as Black? You know, it's kind of that weird thing, but I guess that's another conversation. But I think another thing about being Black is embracing that, because I think if you're a Black person, it's like, I'm not really Black, like, are you really Black, you know, kind of like that. So I think it's like embracing kind of the good, the bad, and the ugly, because that's what it is to be Black. There's good parts, there's really ugly parts, and there's bad parts, but there's also like rewarding parts too. And so I think if you're like embracing that, and you're also like actively engaging in the culture / giving back to the culture, because I think that's a huge part that Black people need, is like the giving back, and like making sure it's just not individual, but it's like the whole community, and how does this look like for the community. And I feel like we have to do that when we're at work. Like, we represent all Black people. It sucks, but like that's kind of what it means. And I think, like Janae said, a shared trauma too, because I think if someone looks white passing, they don't have the same experience as people that look Black in America. And I think that's a huge difference, because if you can go through your whole life being white passing, I don't know if you really know what it's like to be Black, because that's a lot of being Black is the experience. So that's my answer on what does it mean to be Black. And I guess we can go into how has someone made you feel not Black enough.
You know, there are so many times that we could list this off. I mean, I think luckily that's happened to me less and less as I've become older, but I think that's also because I care a lot less about what people have to say about my Blackness. I really could not give a damn. But growing up, I definitely noticed the pattern was people thinking I was less Black because of the way I spoke, or because they knew I was smart. And that just really, particularly the smartness, that really bugged me, because it's like, from that, you're essentially saying Black people aren't smart, and that it's a rarity for us to be intelligent, which is just like, y'all know how resourceful and intelligent Black people are. And from the history, like, again, slaves were given nothing when we came to this country, and yet we were able to take that nothing and create so many different things. Our music, our language, like our personal language, food. We had a Juneteenth episode where we were talking about like soul food and like how that's rooted in like slavery and how that came about. So yeah, the intelligence thing like really bugged me. One particular instance, this was in college, I remember we were doing like some panel for a few of the like representatives for our area, and afterwards this dude, this man, I think he's still a representative, like came up to me and my parents because they just wanted to see, because you know they're just supporting me, and he was just like, wow, your daughter is like so articulate. And if you know anything about the word articulate, it's a very big trigger for a lot of Black people, because it says like you expect us not to be well spoken. And he said it in such a way that was like so surprising. And I've never wanted to fight someone so much. Like, so many people know I cannot stand this representative because of that moment. Also, like, he's a Republican and not doing that many great things. So But that just like, I think it's just like, because I just know, I grew up around so many smart, hardworking, intelligent Black people, and for like us not to get that credit, it's just unacceptable.
I feel like it's good.
I can definitely agree with Amari when she said, like, it doesn't happen as much now, or more so I'm just more confident in myself. So it's just like, I don't care what you think, what you say, whatever. But when I was younger, same thing. It was a lot about the way I spoke. It was a lot about the things that I was interested in, the music I listened to. I think, and that was, you know, part of why we started So-Called Oreos, because all of us had shared experiences where we would experience this feeling around Black people and around white people, where you feel not Black enough, because on one side, Black people are like, you like rock music? And then white people are like, twerk for me. And you're like, you know.
That's so accurate. I look back on all the times that I was dancing for white folk, and I cringe. I think I can pinpoint the very, very last time where I was in a space with white people and they were like, yeah, booty pop. And I didn't do it. Okay, so I was at a party. In Lower Manhattan, Lower East Side. And it was like with all of these friends from college. And there was just this white boy who kept on trying to touch my goddamn hair. He kept on trying to dance with me. And I was just like, what are you doing? I think I looked at him at one point. He's like, what are you doing? You know, I think that was like the very last time I was in a space where I was like, these Caucasians are acting like they from the Caucasus Mountains tonight. Very last time I could pinpoint that. But anyway, you know, not feeling Black enough. It's happened so much. Go listen to earlier episodes of So-Called Oreos.
Yeah, I think, and we kind of discuss these parts in the early episodes of So-Called Oreos, but I think the music is a big one, where it's like, you listen to white people music, and I listen to a lot of EDM, but if you know anything about EDM, it has Black roots. And that type of, so that was
like
big
all
growing
music,
up.
actually, let's be honest.
All music, yeah. I
like
went to
country music, Black roots. Like,
yeah, I went to the African American Museum of Music in Nashville. Highly recommend. But it was basically all parts of genres and how it went back to Black people. So highly recommend if you're in Nashville. But yeah, I think the music thing, the comments of like, that's white. And I think a lot of it is from Black people. And I know it's joking from Black people, so I don't take offense to it as much. But I'm kind of like, okay, we do need to reframe our mindset. But it's like, y'all listen to white music. I eat pumpkin pie. Y'all eat white people food. Like, I paint my nails black. Y'all are doing white shit. Like, you know, that type of stuff where it's like, okay, calm down. But I think the two main things is, like, where I'm from has always been a question where it's like people see my parents' house or see that I'm from Washington, New Jersey, and no, that's not a lot of Black people are the hood. But I think it's this obsession with struggle with Black people where it's like, you're not from the hood, you didn't struggle, you're not Black. And it's like, why does struggle have to be ingrained of being Black? Like, that's also like, you don't know me, kind of like, that's kind of what I say to people, like, you don't know me. Like, my parents have this house because they made a lot of sacrifices, and like, they made sacrifices and they're really good with money too. So it's not that they make a lot, it's that they're actually really good with money.
I'm sorry,
like, what are you saying, Mark?
I'm just laughing, not because it's not verbatim, but what you're saying is literally Jordan from
oh, shut up.
It's literally it's Jordan from Sweet Life.
But I'm not saying it like him, and I'm not saying that I'm not privileged, because that is a privilege. Jordan was on some weird shit. If you all watch Sweet Life, he was a weirdo, bro. He's a weirdo. He was basically, it's Issa Rae's reality show. He was basically
he crossed too many lines. So the thing is, like, yeah, like, he couldn't acknowledge that he came from a privileged position, but like, even so, in coming from that privileged position, like, he still did have certain struggles. Like, he didn't grow up around his father, you know, like his mom, like, he had a single mom, she was making all these sacrifices. But yeah, he went a little too hard.
Yeah, and I can say, like, I will say, like, okay, it does bother me when people, like, see you know, the house and stuff, and they're like, Kia's rich, and it's like, no, I'm not. But I can recognize, like, yes, there's a lot of privilege in being where I'm from. As much as the white people are annoying, there's a lot of privilege here, and I would be a completely different person if I was in my old school. I can acknowledge that. But it does annoy me where it's like, if you didn't have this intense struggle, then you're not black, and that, I just hate that struggle has to be ingrained to blackness, which it doesn't, and that really bothers me.
And it should
just,
also
like, group.
It should also be, I feel like an aspiration. Like, I feel like we should be happy when we find, you know, oh, like, you didn't have to go through that. Like, that doesn't have to be, I think, like, I think every generation, like, that's kind of the aspiration for, like, those kids that come behind you. So that,
and
like,
that's kind of what my parents did, where it's like, okay, I was from, like, maybe not so good parts of, like, Newark, New Jersey, but I worked X amount of, so my kids don't have to. And I think that's something they take pride in, where it's like, it seems like as a collective, it's like, no, you just, like, it's almost like you have to be initiated into, like, blackness, and, like, being from the hood is one of them, where I'm like, nope, let's stop that. Let's normalize black kids growing up without a lot of trauma, or, like, having to sell drugs, or, and that goes both ways too, because I want to normalize kids not, because there's a lot of trauma growing up with all white people, and, you know, I want to normalize, take that not being another source of trauma too. And I think the other thing is, like, skin color, of course, where people are constantly questioning, like, what are you? And that is getting to the point where I'm just like, God damn, I'm about to write a sticker that says I'm black on my forehead, because it's
feel
annoying.
Like that question of, like, what are you during a first conversation, it's just as rude as commenting on someone's size, or asking about someone who you don't know, asking about their sexuality. Yeah, like, I feel like all of those things, first conversation, should not, like, it's rude.
It is rude, and
I feel like those are just also things that, like, eventually, in getting to know people, become naturally revealed.
Yeah.
They're naturally revealed to you.
The blanks will be filled in, and I can't sit here and say that I've never seen someone who looked racially ambiguous, and I wasn't like, I wonder what they is. I can't say I've never.
I would never
thought
say it to their face, though.
But I wait.
Yeah.
Like, I wait. If I'm gonna get to know you, I'm gonna eventually find out if you just light-skinned or if you're mixed, or, you know, like, I'm gonna find that out eventually, and just having several conversations with you anyway.
Because I feel like it's like almost like a daily fight, where it's like, it's also annoying because people will be like, well, where are your parents from? Which is, like, just insulting, because it's like, I've been here for, like, what, how many generations? I'm an American. I've been here longer than, I don't know, most people. So it's just, it's rude in that access, like, questioning where, you know, my lineage from, and then it's just, like, a constant, like, are you mixed? And, like, fetishizing the mixed person, or, like, are you Spanish? Fetishizing that. And when I tell you no, it's almost like, oh, you're just a dirty black person. Like, that's kind of, like, the reaction that I get, and it's just, like, do y'all see how you come off? Like, that's what I want to ask people. Like, I wish you could see it from my eyes, because you look fucking crazy.
And,
like,
one more note on that. Kia, you look black.
Janae always says that, but that's because me and Janae look alike.
No, but I think that's so funny, though, too, because I've never, since meeting you, Kia, have never thought that you were mixed. Never. I just thought you were black. But maybe it's also because, like, y'all be my mom's skin complexion. I know she black, too. So, like, I have context, but, like,
I think if you know someone... I think if you know someone, or you look, because Janae, you would probably get the same. I mean, we have the same hair texture. We have kind of the same skin color.
So I was trying to think while you were talking. I was like, why? Because I used to get questions about if I was mixed in my hometown, which is a smaller place, and then moving here, I don't really get questions about it anymore. But I think my features are a little bit bigger than yours, Kia. Your nose is smaller, so maybe that's where people get messed up. But I'm still kind of like.
But the nose and lips don't look white to me.
They don't. And
like, the lips are still pretty. I mean, the hair is obvious.
You and I have the same great hair. Our hair is
but also,
is nappier than Amari's.
But also, like, I do know people who are mixed and who I would just think are black. Like, yeah, I'd be like, when they tell me, like, oh, my mom's white, I'm like, for real?
Like, that's the girl from Atlanta, Zazi's Beats. Is that, am I saying her name right? The one from Atlanta that's.
I didn't watch the show. It's still on my watch
Oh,
list.
God damn it. She's on Deadpool 2. Y'all know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I don't watch Deadpool 2 either.
I know you're talking about.
I didn't know she was mixed until the show where she was talking about how she was half German, speaking German and shit, and I'm like, damn. I thought you were just black.
Well, Kia, you look black as hell to me, but
Thank
I
you.
also
I
look
wish
black
people-
as hell to me too.
You look, yeah. It's just. I just want to say it's annoying. Just stop questioning where I'm from. God damn it. Anyway, next question. Okay, we wanted to talk about if someone has a non-black partner, does that have anything to say about their identity? We're messy here.